Hey everybody, this is Monte Cristo. Today's hot take is brought to you by DJ Esports. You can earn up to 800,000 USDT in the free-to-enter DJ Esports World's Prediction Series. Sign up with the link in the description. Now, some of you don't seem to understand what hot takes are. These takes are intended to be a little out there, so keep that in mind. They are thought teasers, an amuse-bouche for your brain, if you will. All right. So here's today's hot take, especially now that we have 3 LCK teams in the semifinals this year. And that is the death of Korea and the downfall of Korea in League of Legends has been greatly over-exaggerated because of one bad year, and that year was 2018. Let's take a little walk through history. All right. Well, 2018, what happened? Well, all the teams from Korea made it out of groups except for Gen.G. Now, typically all Korean teams make it out in Gen.G. Now, they just flopped. You also look at Cloud9 beating the Africa Freaks. That was a big win for Cloud9 as an organization, and the first time that a North American team had beat a Korean team in a best of 5. So that was really exciting, obviously. Little bit of a fluke all the same. And what happened in the other quarterfinal match that year? Well, it was an extremely close 5-game series between KT and IG. Odds are whoever wins that match wins the entirety of Worlds. Would we even be having this conversation if KT had won that quarterfinal? Because I think they would have dumpstered the rest of the tournament. They were clearly the second best team overall in 2018. Now, what happened in 2019? Once again, we see all of the Korean teams escaping their groups at the World Championship. IG takes out Griffin, so an LPL-LCK match. Sometimes those have tilted the LPL's way. On the other side, G2 manages to take out both Korean teams. And maybe it wasn't that the LCK teams were worse. Maybe it was just G2 was really fucking good because we know they were a world-class team. They were an MSI champion. This team was exceptional and actually had much better results than the rest of EU if we compare international records on the whole. They were the outlier, not that Korean teams played badly. FPX managed to win Worlds without ever playing a best of 5 against a Korean team. Where does that leave us? Well, let's talk about Worlds 2020. So last year, well, Dom won, obviously. And we also look again, here's G2 eliminating another Korean team in Gen.G in the quarterfinals. So that's 3 Korean teams that have been eliminated by Gen.G in the last few years of competition. Certainly a huge accomplishment for G2, but it doesn't mean that Korean teams were necessarily on the decline. I think people look at the 2 LPL teams winning in 2018 and 2019, and they equate that with the downfall of the Korean region. I think the new narrative has to be Korea was always strong. There was just a down year in 2018. And on top of that, you have G2 being exceptional, probably the best team the West has ever fielded. And that has made a really huge difference in a single elimination tournament like the World Championship. So I think a couple of these matches go the other way, particularly IG versus KT in 2018, and the narrative completely changes. I don't think this is a return to Korean dominance. I think there were flukes in G2's performance, and there were flukes in 2018.